All right, guys. So I just want to start this video off really quickly by saying this. I just want to get something out the way, a couple things out the way in terms of the Acolyte. So I'm going to try to say this in as professional of a way as I can without getting too triggered or too anything like that. If you're new to the channel, by the way, my name is Matthew B. Haynes, and this is my wife.
Shannon, aka Cosmic Binks.
Okay, so quick disclaimer about this, by the way. So just warning you right now, there's going to be a little bit of a mini rant about two specific things, and we'll just get into this, okay? So, first of all, I wasn't really aware of all the Acolyte hate and all the people just saying whatever they need to say about it. People are entitled to their own opinions, and I, you know, just like as I'm entitled to mine. But recently, what's been upsetting me was people taking their own opinions and using that to base their whole viewpoint on everything, or that everyone else shares their opinion, or they saw a couple of Reddit posts, or they may have seen a couple of social media pages or other YouTube channels like this one, or bigger, smaller, no matter what size you are, say that they hate the Acolyte, and they jump on this bandwagon and they use all these other opinions to validate their own opinion and use that as, oh yeah, everyone hates the Acolyte. That's not the case. That's not true. And then another thing too that also gets to me too is that, like, I want to preface this. I have been professionally trained in cinema and television, okay? And I'm not going to go down my whole list of all my credits and everything that I've done and everything that I have in my various fields of work. That's not the point of this video, but the point is that I know what I'm talking about enough to be a Rotten Tomatoes certified critic, as well as a member of the African American Film Critics Association. And a lot of the times that I would present things as an objective opinion, which is things that are widely accepted as good, widely accepted as bad. And then there's my personal opinion, where I just disregard a lot of those things, just view how I'm really feeling. So normally the review, you know, the videos you see that, and Shannon's the same way. You can pitch in if you feel a need to, anybody, by the way, or anything. She's let me do this rant.
Yeah.
But we are like this. We are like this on this channel. We just say how we feel. Sometimes we just say silly things that may not be coherent, or, you know, we don't write notes for this stuff. We just film the way that how we feel, and then we go off, and then we just put the video up because we find it entertaining and we just find fun in it, and we enjoy doing that stuff, right? But I'm saying all that to say is that while I may not always present things in a formulaic way, whereas, hey, we are with this and that, and look at this frame, look at this shot here, let's discuss this thing, let's study this. And I'm not breaking down an episode. I'm not breaking down a movie. I'm reacting. So however you see us react to something, that's just our reaction, okay? That being said, we have been enjoying the Acolyte. We have been really enjoying it just from our feelings, okay? I'm pretty sure if I go and I analyze every episode so far, if I really studied it and try to apply some of that knowledge I have here, I can probably find more than 5 or 6 things that they could have done better. But that's just cinema. That's film. That's TV. There's always something you can do better. At the end of the day, it's all about how you feel as a person, how you're enjoying something. If you don't like the Acolyte and it's not for you, that is okay. And I'm not saying you got to go and just like it, okay? But what I'm asking is for those, especially people who have been on the channel before, is just respect our opinions. You don't have to agree with us, okay? You really don't have to. I'm not saying you have to. Because when we were talking of, you know, some really negative things about Avatar, we didn't really like it at all. Yeah. Outside of the actual quality of the show, we didn't really like how they were handling the story, and we got a lot of backlash for it, so we backed off from uploading reactions. We're not going to do that for the Acolyte. And I'll explain a little bit more of that in a second, because this is going on a little bit longer than I wanted it to, but this video is going to be mostly talking anyway. But yeah, the point is that just respect what we got to say. This is our page, this is our platform, this is our channel that we spend a lot of hours on, and just respect what we got to say. You don't have to agree, you know. And if you don't like the show or like our opinion, you can leave. You can literally dislike the video, make a rant or whatever, and then just leave, and that's fine. You know, you don't have to like every YouTuber or every content creator on the platform, or Instagram or TikTok. It doesn't matter. So just form your own opinion. That's all I'm going to just form your own opinions. Don't worry about all the clutter and all the nonsense. Like, I feel like it's easy to follow a trend. Like, if everyone's liking something, it's easier to jump on that. And if everybody's disliking something, it's easier to jump on that. It's okay to stand out. So we like it while a lot of people don't like it. We're gonna own up to that. We're gonna keep that. Do you have anything you want to add to that?
I mean, you kind of saying what I was thinking anyway. So.
Yeah, I'm kind of going off a bit, but like, I don't know if you had any of your own thoughts on this.
I mean, I'm in the same boat, really. Also, I'm sorry, I'm tired, so don't mind that.
Yeah.
But
which leads us into another thing too, by the way, guys. For the reaction actual section, I'm not gonna be putting as much effort into these reactions anymore for the Acolyte. However, we are gonna post our like discussions and how we feel after the episode in this video. So we're gonna just cut to that. I put chapters in the video, so if this rant is of no interest to you, just skip to whatever. Where we talk about the episodes, and if anything cool happens in the episodes, if it's one or two scenes that were really awesome, I'll include in the reaction. But the reason is, guys, we don't really have a lot of time as we used to film. So the time that we do have to film is very crucial.
Yeah.
And it takes me hours to edit these videos. And if I'm just going to upload a video and it's only going to get 100 views and people complaining about it and talking, to me, that's that. I don't only just do YouTube as a job. I do it because it brings me joy, and I need to get that dopamine release. And if I don't get a sense of accomplishment, no creator wants to upload something and it gets completely trashed, or the thing that they're doing is just getting completely bombed. A lot of creators suffer through it in silence, but no creator feels good about uploading any form of content, whether it's a short TikTok or a long form video. No one wants to upload something and it just gets completely bombed, and it's too much hassle, man. It's a long process, not really worth the time.
Yeah.
So, if that's what it's just gonna be for the Acolyte, I'm just gonna treat it that way. However, I'm just gonna keep uploading these videos, these discussion videos after the episodes, which is what these are just gonna be, with small snippets of reactions for that. The full reaction, however, will be on Patreon as usual. So Patreon will get to see us reacting to the series with nothing cut out. So if you're interested in supporting the channel, you're interested in seeing that, go ahead and check out the Patreon link down below. I think that's pretty much it for this long opening rant. It's going on longer than I wanted it to, but like I said, I'll put chapters so you guys can skip through to wherever you want to see. Yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. That's pretty much it for this. If you see Shan yawning in between a couple of times, she didn't have her nap yet. We're just kind of going into this thing. So anyways, that's it. Our time is precious. Your time is precious. So that's just how the reactions are going to be going forward. Yeah. Hope you're okay with that.
Just for the Acolyte.
Just for the Acolyte. Oh, thank you for saying that. Just for the Acolyte. Because we got the boys coming out, guys. You already know that's going to be a nice, well-edited video.
House of the Dragon.
House of the Dragon. Those are going to be nice, well-edited videos. And I'm going to put more time in that. But for the Acolyte, man, if people are just going to be treating the show like trash, then I'm not going to put any effort in these videos. Yeah. I'm just going to post our reviews. It's going to get 100 views anyway. So why am I going to waste 8 hours for 100 views? I'm not doing that. No. Anyways, let's move on.
Did anyone see them?
I do not believe so.
Any sign of the visiting Jedi?
None. Our scouts think they've moved their ship inland.
I told you this planet would be safe haven for our coven.
Coven.
It is not going to stay safe.
They're definitely witches.
Yeah.
Are they a couples?
You want to say something?
The hand not under the jaw was like a couple.
It seems so.
You're like, hey, baby boo. This is tapping into some old Republic stuff though, because they did talk about different beings from different dimensions too. Sometimes that can just use the Force in their own way, interpret it in their own way, that are not necessarily Jedi.
Yeah.
They just did their own thing. Because if the Force is everywhere, it's not just limited to the Jedi and the Sith.
Yeah.
There's definitely some gray area. It's not all good, not all bad.
Yeah.
To fit though.
Right.
You know what's crazy? What I'm also thinking too, this could easily be some dark side stuff.
Yeah.
And Osha might have an affinity to the light.
Yeah.
And is feeling uncomfortable. Whereas Mae is like,
sign me the freak
sign me up. I'm chilling. Or it could just be she's just not interested. I don't know. Maybe that's how she gets that mark.
Oh, and that's why Osha doesn't have
Osha doesn't have it, yeah. Interesting. Legend's like a permanent tattoo in some
Yeah. Oh.
Uh-oh.
If you want your Padawan returned to his right mind, I suggest you all leave.
Oh.
Now.
Mama. Well, damn.
Yo, no wonder my man was meditating, bro.
Right.
Man saw some stuff.
Well, there was still stuff that he did, though.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go. We're stuck here now. It's not up to you. You can't stop me. Yes, I can. How? I'll kill you.
Girl.
That's wild. She literally set up a kill you.
Right.
So she literally tried to kill her.
That's crazy.
Oh no, she's burning. Okay, wait. And the Jedi definitely came to help. She literally tried to kill her, bro.
That's wild.
Bro, me a demon child dread.
Right.
That's where she get her mech neck skills from.
Yeah.
Bro, May really started the fire, bro. That's crazy. I mean, it seems obviously that May started a fire unless something else happened behind the scenes. But
I mean, yes, there's the fire, but like, why are they all dead?
they either died in battle, or the debris and all the extra rocks and stuff fell on them.
Yeah.
But they were in a meeting.
Going to be okay, Osha.
He definitely had just like always had like a very strong connection to her.
All right, we are going to talk about this episode. Yeah, go right ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting seeing like how everything happened because like I feel there's still obviously a little more we're missing as like why specifically May is going after the Jedi. Like other than the fact that oh, you were taking my sister away, right? But Torben said, "Oh, forgive me." So that's where I'm still confused like what happened regarding that, you know? So there's still more to the story that, you know, we haven't quite touched on yet. But, I mean, other than that, it was cool seeing, like, different, you know, use cases of the Force or what they call it, the thread. So, yeah it was...
The Wheel of Time weave.
Essentially, yeah. They're essentially Aes Sedai. But yeah, it was just really interesting seeing that because we haven't really seen anything like that before. Like, it was... Yeah, I don't know. It was kind of interesting to me. Yeah, I mean, I think the episode was pretty good for me. Yeah.
Any other thoughts coming to your mind?
Not off the top of my head right now. No.
Okay, so yeah. So for me, I'm feeling like I know I used to do this before, and I'll just do this just to kind of keep track of my thoughts because I didn't write any notes, but I normally like used to skip through and stuff like that. But I'm not showing this on the screen or anything like that. So yeah. Oh yeah, this is pretty interesting. So the beginning. From the beginning of the episode, we could already see the difference in how they treat living things and how they treat the world around them. So Osha, we saw her, she was like, whatever that was. I think we've seen it in Rebels before, actually. It looks very familiar.
Yeah, I'm not 100%.
But messing with it, holding it, but letting it go.
Yeah.
And then right after that, obviously, we see May come in with, that emo energy.
Yeah.
And try to kill the dang thing.
Yeah, you can just see the difference between them. Like, throughout the whole episode, just in different things. And, May representing, like, the darkness. And obviously Osha being more light.
Having more of an affinity to the light. Yeah.
So,
yeah, you definitely get to see those differences. My head feels so much smaller than normal. Yeah, my head feels like so much smaller than normal. I guess it's easy because everything is like popping up. Yeah. But anyways, yeah. So that was that, and then it seems as if they had this relationship as May was the more dominant force in the relationship. She was the one that dictated what happened, where they went. She was like the lead twin. Yeah. She's like Phoebe's twin.
Yeah.
Always always just doing whatever she wants and kind of dictating how things happen and so on and so forth. So yeah, we got to see this, and then we got this introduction here of Mother Coheria or whatever her name is. They say her name, but we thought it was Night Sisters, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
Because we found out actually that I don't even know why I thought they were Night Sisters, because we found out in Ahsoka that the Night Sisters came from a completely different dimension altogether.
It still could have been Night Sisters.
True. This is like well after all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we had the introduction of that character and... Kaleri?
I think it was Kaleri.
Yeah. Mother Coral. Mother Coral.
I feel like Kaleri is from something else.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and then we get an introduction to their mother.
Yeah.
Which we send a reaction, but I'm going to say here because you probably didn't see it. But I love her design. I love everything about. I love the way how her hair is set, the makeup,
Yeah.
it really makes her features stand out a lot more.
I agree.
She's rat pretty. They always say if I don't know the meme, they're talking about like different features. Like rat pretty is to say is more like sharp images. Like sharp images, more sharp features.
Yeah, and like
frog pretty is more round features,
yeah.
and then like I forgot what the other one was.
Deer pretty.
There's a whole bunch of different. But no, beautiful woman, amazing features. The makeup highlighted a lot of that.
Oh, definitely.
They did really well with that. The costume design I personally really enjoyed as well. Obviously, they're taking a lot of hints of different African inspirations in the makeup and the outfits and the neck pieces that she wore for accessories and her nose rings and earrings and things like that. So they did a real good job as well. Cool. Yeah, I really liked. I personally really am enjoying the costume design and some of the set designs. And one thing to really note about this episode was that it was really slower. It was much slower paced than the other ones, and that's okay. I did have a little bit of an issue with the actual layout of the story, though. I felt like there was this big build up for kind of like a low resolution, because I don't think we saw, besides the addition of the mother and more nuance to the tribes, I don't think we saw, or to the witches.
Yeah.
I don't really think, unless there is more that are holding back from showing us, and this is just from the girl's perspective.
Right.
Maybe the Jedi have a completely different perspective, right? Yeah. So maybe this is just part one of two when it comes to perspective. But the point I'm trying to make,
like I said, I do think there is more to the story, because like Torben, like he said, forgive me, and like Mae was like, what you did. Like there's more to that.
We could definitely talk more about that. But the only reason I was bringing that up, because I don't forget it, was that just based on this episode alone, it didn't give us too much more than what we already knew.
Yeah, it's just seeing how the events played out.
Yeah, but usually, like, there's an event. If you guys, so in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I won't talk too much about this, but in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., well, I told you about this already. With Ming-Na Wen's character, I told you about this. That they call her the Cavalry, and I'm not going to go into details because Shan hasn't seen it yet. But like, they call her the Cavalry, and they build up this moment to like, why do they call her the Cavalry? What's going on with that? Like, why is she, why is this a legend? And everyone has a different legendary story about what happened, and calling her Cavalry. And we did get an episode that went into why she's called that and what actually happened that gave her that name, and it was completely much more deeper than what everyone else thought it was. Like, everyone else had their own perspective of what happened, but then when we actually saw what happened, it was like, whoa, okay, this is actually much bigger. When we got to that point in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., it was this big story that was unfolded, and it was like a nice payoff. It was like this big load up, and then okay.
Yeah, because same thing with Black Widow and
Hawkeye. Budapest.
Yeah, Budapest. Like, even though we didn't see it, but we found out what happened.
Yeah, we got more details about it.
After all of those years.
Yeah.
So
I already know people. So some people were like already saying like, "Oh man, this episode was cringe or whatever," and I already know why. It's probably just some homophobic nonsense.
I don't care.
People always got something to say, man. Probably just because of that. And I can already hear people trying to call it woke, and I'm not even going to address that part of it. I actually want to know.
This is literally a female-only coven. There is no outside.
But it's like, how people are, though. These people are.
Oh, I know how people are.
Oh yeah, man, you can't have a child without.
This is space.
Yeah, we're not gonna get too much into that conversation. We're not gonna get too much into that conversation. All I will say, just because I don't want to,
because and magic.
I know, and the reason I don't want to get off on that conversation though is because it's gonna make me mad, and I'm gonna end up ranting. I don't want to do that. So we're just gonna leave that at that. It's gonna make me mad ranting at the people, because I really hate people with small minds. But anyways,
I've
already started. Anyways, what I want to know is actually how they did it. If the Jedi find out how we made them, one carried, one created. Okay, well, I actually want to know the process. Like, this is not even from a sexual thing. I just actually want to know, because obviously it's more than that. It's more than a sexual thing. It's like there was something that they did with the Force and manipulating it in some way, or they did something. I want to know exactly the process, what they did, because I'm actually really intrigued by that element of the storyline. They like literally made kids from like nothing, and I want to know how they did that. So that's like
created
some
it.
Messiah stuff. That's like some
Yeah.
that's like some Mary carrying Jesus in the womb kind of
Yeah,
thing.
'cause
Like
only one carried and
one made.
Yeah,
So
it's an interesting thing.
yeah, I want to know the actual process and the detail
Yeah.
as to how they did that. But anyway, let's fast forward a little bit more, just to think. So it was actually kind of cool. I actually really like the introduction of the witches themselves.
Yeah.
And like getting to see, yeah.
Sorry, I think they had a good storyline, but we just didn't really get to see a lot of them.
I really felt like a lot of their storyline was a little lackluster in the sense that I could have done with a little bit more. Their inclusion was a nice tease, but I felt like we could have gotten a little bit more of their world.
Yeah, because like, why were they exiled?
Exactly.
What happened with that?
And I feel like that's something that they might build upon later on.
Yeah, they might just have another show called Coven or something.
Yeah. Yeah, who knows, man? I don't know if if there's enough material from this episode to make people interested in wanting to watch a series about that, outside of me just liking this kind of stuff and like just seeing all this Coven stuff and like all the secrecy and all behind it. Like I want to know what's going on with that. So I'm definitely intrigued by their inclusion in Star Wars because we get another set of witches. They don't seem to be Night Sisters, which were also considered witches. And they interpreted the Force in their own way. So
this is like completely different.
It's completely different. It seems to be a little bit different. So they seem to have a little bit of a gray area, and not necessarily inherently trying to do one specific
they're
thing.
Like literally like pulling like thread, essentially.
Yeah,
which is
really
very interesting.
Yeah, we can actually physically see something.
Yeah, that's the thing that's really getting me. Because I'm like, what can they do?
Yeah,
obviously, like what she did with Torben too.
Yeah,
like. We need to see more of that.
Yeah, we need to see more of that. That was interesting. There's a lot. There's a lot there. There was a lot there in that story.
Yeah, like how do they manipulate
the Force
or
interpret the Force or the thread? Yeah. So I think there is enough for me to be interested in expanding the storylines.
Yeah.
In general, but again, they got a really beautiful actress to play. She commanded a lot of authority. I felt like she was elegant, beautiful, strong.
Yeah.
Had a lot of leadership qualities. You just want to like respect what she has to say.
Yeah.
So I feel like they definitely cast someone really well to play her, and like the way how they designed her, how she acted, I felt her role in itself was really good, and I wanted to see more of her do her thing, and also showcasing her being a really good mother too throughout the episode. That was also good, but showing how they use the Force and how they use it in their own unique way, I think that's really cool, and I really like that. They definitely got Salem witch trialed. And again, throughout the episode, we get to see so many different interpretations because you see, they're seeing this, and she realized, you guys can see what we're seeing, but Mother Coral, she recognized that something was going on. So she noticed that something was afoot. So she noticed that that aught was amiss. So she wanted to see what's going on. So we definitely know that there's more to this. So we're only seeing one side of this, and this is from the witch's side, and they seem wholesome and everything like that. We don't know, bro. These could have been a bunch of cannibals. They could have been going around terrorizing cities. We don't know what they was up to. We don't know what they were doing.
They were exiled. So we don't know exactly why they were exiled.
Like maybe if we see the Jedi perspective in another episode, maybe we might see why they were there, why they were stationed on Brendok. So again, Mae being upset that Osha doesn't want to do her stuff. And we get
Mae's very controlling.
Very controlling. She definitely had a lot of anger issues, more affinity to darker elements, dark side of the Force, things like that. There's definitely a lot to this lore that I want to see more of, especially with this planet that they're on and the environment, the system, like everything like that. The planet, like this weird eclipse thing that was going on, that was really good too. The twins' dynamic between clearly showing that one was into one thing and one was not into the other thing. Like that was something that was really good too, and I really enjoyed seeing. Let's go for a little bit more. The actual ritual itself, I thought was really interesting.
Yeah.
Again, just her way as she walked out and everything like that. I want more of them.
Yeah.
I think their inclusion again was really good. All of their designs, all of their makeup, perfect, great. And then actually seeing the ritual and her, like something happened with the moon or the planet that was behind them.
Yeah.
And it came down, and she put the mark on her forehead.
That's what I'm saying. Just how they do all the stuff that they're doing. Like I really want to know more about it, because like how do you do that? What is it that like just what?
There's so many layers to
Yeah.
the Force than just And we've seen this obviously in Clone Wars and Rebels.
Yeah.
We've seen that the Force is capable of doing many things and lots of things. It's an unexplained force, even though the Jedi and the Sith try to explain it in their own way.
Yeah, it's just how do they use it specifically?
Right. And they always, which is why I like characters like Bendu in Star Wars Rebels, where, you know, the Sith always say there's the dark side and then the Jedi there's a light, and they always interpret it as there's two sides of a coin.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Bendu was like, the Force is everything. Like, it doesn't necessarily, it's not good, it's not bad.
It just is.
It just is. And like Bendu fed into his anger.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when Kanan did something he didn't like, he fed into his anger. He literally rained hellfire, lightning, blood fire upon the planet when when he was upset. Yeah. So man said, boom, man, fire upon the whole place. Guy would match up the whole planet, bro. Yeah. Bust up everything. But that was what he did. And, you know, but then there was also times he was more benevolent and more calm and more chill. Yeah. So characters like Bendu was a real good way of introducing that the Force is not just this clear-cut black and white perspective.
It's what you do with
it. It's what you do with it and what it is. And then obviously if you read some of the other, you know, the older public stuff and some of the Legends storylines, you can see that there's a lot of other Force users that also interpret the Force in their own ways. Mm-hmm. And this is obviously something that they pulled from that with these witches, showing that, you know, they are using and viewing the Force a religion for them in a way. Even though the Force is a religion for both, like the Sith and the Jedi, they have their own perspective of this religion.
Their own rituals.
Their own rituals, their own perspectives on it. And you'll see this actually with most religions in real life too. There's quite a few religions, which I won't name, but there's quite a few religions that share very similar point of views. Yeah. Where they all want the same thing in the sense that, like, it's because Osha talked about, like, we use bunta in the winter and we use bow and arrow in the summer, but hunting, we still hunt. It's still the same thing. Yeah. The objective is still hunting. The way we hunt is different. Yeah. So it's like, if you look at like religion in real life, it's like a very similar thing. It's like most religions, for the most part, want happiness, peace, have a very specific objective in terms of how they view the afterlife.
Yeah, a lot of
similar things.
A lot of it is very similar. It's just different perspectives.
Yeah, everybody's strong in their own stance as to how they interpret the spirit world. But the one thing that they can all agree on is that there is a spirit world, and that there's things that happen beyond their understanding. I think that's just one thing that most religions, no matter where you fall in there, I think most religions can kind of agree that there is life beyond. That's just, again, if you don't believe in life beyond this plane of existence, that's okay too. If you're atheist, cool, you do you. I really don't care what you do. But I'm just using this as an example just to say, bring back to Star Wars, that like they all believe in this one central force, but they all have their own interpretations of it, but also sharing similar things too, because you'll see the Jedi and them, they say, do not let fear, dictate your judgment on this. Yeah. That's a very, a big Jedi point of view. It's like, do not allow fear, because even you heard, Master Soul talk about it to Yord in the previous episode. Do not let fear. It's a very common subject that's brought up in Star Wars all the time. Don't let fear cloud your judgment. Do not let fear get into your way. Do not let fear allow you to do that. There's also old samurai and old Buddhist teaching too. Do not let fear, influence you.
Fear is the mind killer.
Fear is the mind killer. You look at one of the OG and the blueprint for most sci-fi things. You look at Dune, right? Fear is the mind killer, right? Fear is that little death. You don't really want to give into it. So here's this group of people having the same exact concept on fear. So I just found that was interesting to see this group. We were different, but we have similar things that we may be, but we can't have a conversation about that because you're too stuck up on your way of doing things and we're stuck up on our way of doing things. So there's no way to meet in the middle. There's no way for us to find common ground. So that's a very deep conversation that can be had from this. If you guys that's what I'm trying to say. You guys can't just look at like, oh yeah, no, this thing sucks. Like, no, you gotta like, there's, listen, bro, I could watch the Kiss and again, I always talk about this. I always mention my boy Durbin, man. I always mention Durbani on almost every chance I get because I really love what he did on his channel when he was more active. He's busy doing other things now. But like, again, for those who are unfamiliar with Durbania, go check out his channel. He doesn't really post as much as he used to, but I'm gonna check him out nonetheless. Again, he is a Christian, so his perspective is more on the Christian perspective. But the reason I'm bringing him up is that like he can literally take anything, and you know this already, but this is for people who don't know. He can take anything and find a theological perspective about it. He could take Marley and me and find a theological perspective. He could take the Kissing Booth and find a theological perspective. He could take Hellraiser and find a theological. I mean, that one's easy as hell. But like, he could take anything. He could take Euphoria and find a theological. He could take 50 Shades of Grey and find a theological perspective. So to me, I think if you can take anything and really have a deeper conversation about it, you know? So don't just view something. Yeah, like, again, I did mention that I felt like this episode had a little bit of some pacing issues. I felt like there were some things in the story that could have been done a little bit better.
Yeah.
Some things that could have been built upon a little bit better. Again, this episode 3, they might bring it up in episode 4. Who knows? But the point is, you know, just be willing to have a conversation. Look and see the good things that come out from this. You don't always have to focus on the bad things.
Yeah.
Again, it wasn't a perfect episode,
That's
but
what I'm saying.
there's a lot of good things in here.
I'm not quick to call anything perfect. I'm not quick to call most things perfect.
Yeah.
There's very few things that, in my personal opinion, are perfect in, like, you know, movies, TV shows.
Freddy versus Jason?
No. Definitely not perfect. That is a guilty pleasure. But there are a few things I would consider, in my opinion, to be perfect, but that might differ from what you might call perfect.
Yes.
And that is okay.
And that's personal opinion.
Can disagree on it.
Yes.
That's completely fine. But this episode and the show is by no means a perfect show. And most things aren't. So
I think it's pretty damn good, though.
It's still pretty damn good.
And that's my personal opinion.
Yeah. If you don't think so, you don't gotta yell at us about it.
Yeah, you don't have
to. That's just that. Like, you can have your opinion. We can have ours. We're trying to be respectful of your opinion, so just be respectful of ours.
Yeah.
And if we can do that, the world will just be a better place.
It seems you took the beginning part. You decided to take the liberty to say how you felt now at the end instead of the beginning. That's okay.
We were just talking about it.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. Let's wrap this up real quickly. Let's get to the last things to talk about. You mentioned Torben. There's definitely.
Sorry. Except she did.
Yeah, there's literally definitely something going on with Torben and a perspective that we are not seeing.
Yeah, I feel like.
Unless Mae is just a psycho.
I feel like Torben and Indara definitely have more involvement.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, Torben felt guilty.
Mm-hmm. Enough for him to want to
meditate for 10 years straight.
Yep, and to literally take poison voluntarily. Yeah.
He felt guilty about something.
Yep.
So what that is, I'm not 100%. I don't know what Soul and the other one, I forgot his name, the Wookiee.
Yeah, I keep forgetting his name too.
Yeah, but I don't know what exactly.
You want to say Chrysanthemum, but it's not.
It's not Chrysanthemum. It starts with a K though.
Yeah, but most of them did.
Yeah. Chewie didn't.
I know I said most. There's a lot. There's a lot.
Yeah, but I don't know what those two did.
No, sorry. Me saying most is incorrect because there's also Gunji.
There is Gunji, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what they did. If they did anything, because Mae just could be just blaming them.
And she could just be looking for somebody to blame for all we know.
But again,
Torben,
there's definitely something there.
Unless with him meditating, he probably came to some type of realization that, you know what, if we never stepped foot on this planet, if we never did anything, if we never intervened, these girls would have still been with their mother today. And our presence caused them this chain of events to happen. I don't know. I'm just saying, if you really look at it, because we don't know if this was like an absolute point in history that regardless of what happened, Mae would have still found her destiny and left in some way. She was already running away anyway, as much as she can. So Mae could have easily done this at some point in life or caused some type of beef at some point. But maybe, I don't know, maybe Torben was just doing a lot of self-reflection. I was like, you know what, maybe if we didn't step foot on your planet, we would not have been responsible for tipping over the domino that caused everything to happen.
If that were the case, why wouldn't she go after Soul first? Because he was the one that was urging Osha.
I mean, she's going for, I think she was just going for whoever she can get to first in the easiest way that she thinks she could have. It's just also about information, like who's available. Because
but listen,
she went for Soul as soon as he showed up, she attacked him.
But she went for Indara first.
But she was going for the Wookiee next. She wasn't going for Soul next. Remember after Torben, she was going for the Wookiee?
But why not just go for Torben first?
But
why not just go for Torben first? He was meditating. He wasn't going anywhere.
She didn't know what his situation was. Because if she knew, she wouldn't have blatantly just attacked him like that if she had known. She didn't know what was going on with him. You know? And she was going for the Wookiee next. You know, she wasn't necessarily going for Soul first.
Yeah.
She was just right there. She might have been saving him for last.
Yeah.
You know, she just knew that she was going for those 4. And it might have just been like who was available, who was closest. You know, just kind of thing. I don't know. We knew that, like, you know, it just could have been that. We really don't know.
Just comparing Google calendars, you know.
Yeah.
But also, available or, you know.
But also Soul was teaching lessons in Coruscant, so much harder to get to. You know, Indara, she probably got a tip that Indara was out and about with this bar.
Yeah.
More isolated. Torben was in the temple, but not as guarded as Coruscant. And the Wookiee was on his own planet, which she only got that information later. But, you know, it was just probably easier to go for Indara because less backup.
Yeah.
Whereas trying to go for Soul in Coruscant, that's like you're walking. Unless you're Anakin, bro, you're not coming out of there, bro. You just.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know. I feel like there's more to it that we're missing, though.
Definitely, 100%.
Because I just don't know why Torben would just so willingly drink the poison like that.
I think there is more, for sure.
Because, I don't know, it just seems like there's something missing.
2 sides to this story.
Yeah.
And I feel Soul is keeping back some information, too.
Yeah. Because
Indara seemed like she was just there to stand on business, whereas, you know, Soul was there like, no, like, I'm seeing your soul. Bad joke, but necessary. Like, she was seeing inside of, like, Osha, like, yo, like, I like some avatar, like, I see you, like,
yeah.
You know, I'm here. And then Dara's kind of like, can we just go back to the test?
Yeah.
So, she was just there she was standing on business, literal business.
Yeah.
When Soul was standing on business.
Yeah.
So, you know. But then this whole thing, that's the all mystic, she died, and then this whole thing here, which we just saw the ending there. So all in all, guys, I think the episode was okay. I don't think it was a great episode in terms of presentation and, you know, hype level, but I think it was a nice episode in terms of the introduction of the witches and the content of the possibility of what can happen with these storylines.
Yeah.
Fresh new storylines where you might be able to predict certain outcomes, but you don't necessarily know the players in the game. The game might be the same, but the players will look differently. You know, like almost every D&D game is the same concept, but the story and the characters are different. So that's just all it is. Like a D20 is still being used.
Yeah.
You know? So anyways, we're wrapping this here, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Hope you enjoyed our little discussion about this. If you want to see the reaction to what we had to say, just go check out the Patreon link down below if you want to consider supporting the channel. So that's it. See you in the next one. Clockmaster and
Cosmic Banks.
Out.